Cool. Right on. Welcome back. Another episode, C-Suite Unfiltered, Mike Andes in North Carolina, and we are recording on the actual last day of your North Carolina challenge. How are we feeling?
Yeah, dude, the power's gone out twice today. All the stop signs or the lights around the local area are like sporadically working. So it's been quite the day.
Nice. Yeah. So we did it. 30 full days. This is the end of day 30. Obviously, we know that you hit over 1,500 in daily revenue, and you said we're not stopping there. So yes, you achieved the challenge, check the box, but you're trying to book jobs out. So right now, like how far are you booked out?
Well, the thing is, so like next week is full. The week after that, Chandler is going for training though. So
Right.
even though we're technically booking into now August, it's technically 1 week less. So I'd say confidently we have 3 to 4 weeks booked out. However, I did just get a notification that big job got accepted. So what is more positive though in my mind is like every day we're getting recurring mowing still accepted.
Mhm.
And so, that's been building. We have over 20 mowing customers, which is pretty good for June, like middle of the year. It's not spring rush. So I'm happy. And yeah, so Chandler will be taking things over. Tomorrow is a lot of training, even though it's after the challenge, training a lot with him. I
Right.
think there's like $800 of revenue. So it's a short day. And then we'll do a bunch of training. Chuck is going to come up and help and train him
Cool.
up. So he's at least good for the next week before he comes up to training in Washington.
Okay, that's awesome. That's sweet. Yeah, he seems like a stud. Kind of just came out
Yeah.
of nowhere. Obviously, in the essence of a vlog, right? We had our characters, and then this Chandler guy just pops in and starts crushing. So he seems awesome. Very excited to meet him.
Yeah, and he never even watched any of the videos. So
Oh,
like
okay.
it wasn't like he was like, oh yeah, like let me jump into the story. Like he just had been working hard for a month or so up
Yeah.
in Huntersville underneath Connor, who's the GM up there. And Connor was gracious enough to allow him to come over. I feel like they already kind of knew they were going to lose him eventually because he had so much
Mhm.
caliber, and there wasn't probably going to be anything until next spring that he could move into. And then he was driving significantly longer to get up there. So it ultimately worked out, I think. But yeah, Chandler's a stud. He has that very much mindset like Connor does.
Yeah.
He's young, he's hungry, wants to learn, super eager, figures things out on his feet. So he's gonna crush it, and yeah, I look forward to it.
That's awesome, man. Well,
Oh, by the way, if the lights are flickering, so if the internet cuts out, I'll just switch to my hotspot, and then I'll become a ghost.
if your internet goes out, I'll just monologue and
But
we'll leave it in.
it's running off of mine, so it'll record. It'll record all black screen.
I was gonna say, give me a topic to monologue on, and I would. All right. Well, let's go. Since the challenge is fresh, it just ended. I did prepare a few questions. Not that my question ability has gone to my head by any means, but I do want to start with arguably the greatest trio of questions to a business person of all time. The man himself, Simon Sinek. What, how, and why, right? So we talk about starting with why. So the what was I'm Mike Andes. I'm traveling 2,000 miles to start, a $300,000 annual lawn care business in 30 days, right? That was the what. The how, you bought your equipment, you bought your trucks. Like we all saw the how. The how was watched. We saw it on the vlogs. So now let's go to the why. Why were you motivated to do this? Like, what in the world motivated you to take on this challenge?
There's definitely a combination of things. Like I'm not. So first and foremost, I said a year and a half ago I was going to do it.
Yeah.
I just said it in passing, and then I put it on my YouTube channel. And at the time, I was probably doing it to kind of prove to say people like, "Hey, I'm still a lawn care guy. Like I know how to do this." That was kind of like the air about my comment. And I was like, "Just watch me. I promise by fall of 2023, I'm gonna go start a location from scratch outside of the state."
Yeah.
And so that's where it started. That was the root of it. And as I got closer, I was like, just like super regretting the fact that I promised everyone I'd do that because I was like, how logistically am I going to pull this off? So that's how it started. I'd say as I got closer though, especially going into like this past spring rush, I got somewhat excited by the fact that like I was going to be able to document exactly what I was doing for 30 days for Augusta Nation for new franchisees. Because like right now, we train them for a week.
Mm-hmm.
They leave very pumped up. There's lots of excitement. They just learn tons of information. And then they get one coaching call for the first 6 weeks of being on board after being onboarded at Command Center, which is fine. But we have seen time and time again, it's in those certain, the reason we do weekly coaching calls with you and Chuck during that time is because like it's they're children, like they need more care.
Right.
Same way that an infant needs more care from their parents, they need more care, they need more help, etc. And so it's like, look, if we can't, we did monthly, we'll not do weekly for the first 6 weeks. I want to give them a daily, exactly what I'm doing, the highs, the lows, what I'm going through, what marketing I'm trying, and then the hope was that we would see all the highs, the lows, as well as like me actively trying to work what we talk about in the stages of growth. So like it's easy for them to come to training. They see the tours of the two different shops that are relatively close to each other, both of which are in like stage 4 and 5 of growth. But stage 1, 2, 3 are very gray for a new owner because we don't have anything to show them. We don't have infant locations, and we definitely don't have anyone in the first 30 days. So the goal is that, I've been making these videos publicly, but also I've been making daily videos that are more long form, just me talking like this on this computer for the franchisees that I can stitch together and say, hey, for your first 30 days, watch every single one of these videos and see what I was doing. And I want you to do the same thing. And they're going to see me struggle to find which marketing mechanism worked, right? And some of this is going to seem very staged because like when we look back at it, it's like everything from a media perspective worked out perfectly. Like everything that we wanted to achieve happened, but it was not planned. Like there was no ultimate plan of like, definitely not the car crash, but like the marketing, for example, like there was no scheme. Like we knew we were going to hold the one sign, because it would make a good media bit, right? And that's why we did like the first or second day, right? But it started working. So we ordered 2 other ones, one for mulch and one for property cleanups, which for the franchisees watching, we're going to make them available on the dashboard. Yes, I promise.
Nice.
But, and then it was like, well, I'm spending money on Facebook and Google and like, that's not getting me anything. So we ditch it and we go to door hangers and that's working. So I want them to see that they potentially might go do door hangers and it doesn't work. It's like, not like you throw up your hands like, oh, I give up. Like it's not working. It's like, no, you keep trying. And like I tried everything. I held this thinking sign in a mall. Like whatever it takes in terms of marketing, getting that traction is what's required. And then this is the part I didn't think was going to happen, and I was hoping would and did. And that was we saw momentum kick in. Because typically momentum, what I've seen, takes 3 to 4 months. Because I think the reason that it came so quick to us is I know the systems, right? So like I could follow them right from day one. It was a matter of just finding what worked in terms of marketing, getting traction, and then we got momentum. I think we can take that from 3 to 4 months down to 1 month if they have a better recipe of, okay, I saw Mike struggling with these things. He kept following the systems. He did do exactly what we said in stage 1, 2, and 3, which is don't worry about your profit. Focus on closing jobs. I don't care if you got lower prices. I don't care if you charge an estimate fee or a dump fee. Like you must get jobs on the schedule. And to see it live in action, me getting excited about like, oh my word, we just got 2 jobs accepted. I got 3 referrals. I just got a Google review. Like everything's starting to very quickly that last week pick up is what I want them to know. That's what momentum looks like. Because if you ask me in week 2 or 3 when our close ratio is under 20% and we have 2 or 3 mowing customers and the first mowing job is like a flat tire, where we are literally at day 14 with hardly any mowing customers and hardly any projects, it doesn't look great. And for me, I have to be here for a month. For an owner that has other options or has other business opportunities or other career opportunities or job offers, it's very tempting to jump. And so for them to see me go that low and do that poorly in the first couple weeks, but then literally in a matter of 10 days, it all flipped to where now I confidently know that if I stay here another month, we can get 3 to 4 employees. And now we're booked out 5 weeks and Chandler set up. Like, it's stick with it. And the systems are the backbone that you give your confidence to. And I talk about in the video on the last day, and that is, when you step on a plane, the reason that you have confidence and not too concerned about it crashing is because you know that there's been certain standards and procedures and checklists and protocol followed by engineers and pilots and FFA and the flight controls and all these other things. And so you have to have confidence, and that's what gives you the ability to step on that plane. because you know all those things have been checked. I knew all those things have been checked. That gave me the confidence to get on something that got me to the destination in 30 days. The reason it takes most people a year or 2 years to do what I did in 30 days is because they don't have either A, the plane, it's not dialed in, there's no system, or two, and this is what with Augusta, is they don't have confidence or training. What did I say? They have not perfected those systems. They don't have enough confidence to step on the plane, hold on tight, and let it rip, right? Yeah. And so I'm really happy with the overall, that arc that we showed, because everyone's going to go through those low moments, including just a week ago when literally my GM gets into a car wreck. And, as we'll get into today, here in a second, like it's still, that story is still not over. And so, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good.
It's a very long question, but in true Simon Sinek form, I went all over the place.
And that was a big open-ended question. That was my most open-ended. I expected it to be long because I asked you, like, what's your driving factor? What's your motivation, right? And that could be anything for anyone. Now let me step into the shoes of a naysayer, right? Who says, well, it's all fabricated, Mike. This isn't legit, because you knew there was an end date. And small business owners, they sign up and there isn't an end date, and it could make or break their whole family. It could make or break their whole financial situation. Like that, you just have this advantage because you have all this money in this franchise system. It's not real. What's your retort to that?
Well, if they actually, it just depends on what they're coming. So if they actually say that last part, like they don't think it's real, then it's like I would have to really hoodwink. What's the word? Hoodwink a lot of people. Zach's with me the whole time. Chuck's here. My GMs that are on salary, I'd have to hoodwink them. That'd be a really hard scheme to pull off if this was all fake. I think the part that, as I look back at, is it does seem very fabricated in terms of the highs and the lows. And there was definitely a sense of we were trying to create stories, right? So we have to emphasize certain things. But everything that happened in that video happened for legitimate. There was nothing staged in the form of the storyline. It was more a matter of let's take what is happening and try to make it better for media. That was happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
The thumbnails, the titles. We're trying to get more of the things that are more. I'm not just today I'm mowing a bunch of lawns. You'll see me mow for a minute or two. It's not the driving force of the storyline.
Yeah.
And so we have to not kind of take what's there and then shine it up. But it's definitely not fabricated. If someone thinks it's false, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
I think I spun the question wrong at the end by saying this isn't real. I started the question by saying well, what if someone attacked you for saying, you're leaving in a month, but a small business owner, this is for life. So what's your retort?
My retort. So this is the argumentative Mike that would come back to that one. So the argumentative Mike would say, I would actually put myself in a lesser position by knowing I'm leaving in a month than someone who this is their life's work, or this is their career, or this is their business. Because this is my business, dude, and I didn't have everything else I had to do. You better believe this would have grown faster.
Yeah.
You better believe we'd be here. If I knew I was going to be here for 3 or 6 or 12 months or whatever, we'd be continuing to grow very quickly. Mm-hmm. We're putting the brakes on for Chandler because he's a brand new manager. He needs to come out for training. Then we're going to allow him to employ more people. So we're putting the brakes on very heavily. The fact that we're booging out now, we're 4 weeks and I just got a big project accepted. So probably 5-6 weeks out is, that could be channeled into 2 weeks, me hire 2 more people and we're still rolling here. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I would say that if what people forget, and they always talk about it, but then they forget in this instance is when your life depends on something, you'll typically work harder, you'll have more energy, and you'll do whatever it takes.
Right.
The fact that I am leaving in 30 days, I don't financially need this location, and it's not going to make a meaningful impact on my quote unquote net worth. It further shows the power of the systems because it's not me needing it and being super hungry.
Yeah. Right.
And for the first 3 weeks, I'd say I was only working about 4 hours a day on the business. The last week I've been, in the business every day. Mm-hmm. But I think for someone that had the same level of dedication to the systems and same, we are not deviating from these, plus had 10, 12, 14 hours a day to spend on their business, should be able to do exactly what I did. And the fact that instead of 4 hours, they're working 14, make up for the difference in quote unquote extra knowledge or money that I have. And also too, like I don't think anyone should join Augusta if they only have $500 or $1,000,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right? And I was doing this mostly for the franchisees. Like if I just did the whole like start with $100, we know from a media perspective that would crush. We know we would get more views. We know it'd be very, very wide appeal versus what we went, which is very narrow, just for lawn care and landscaping industry. But I also know that if I would have started with $100, there'd be zero real impact or benefit for Augusta Nation because they're joining with the expectation that they do ramp quickly, with the expectation that they do eventually hand this off to a general manager, with the expectation that they are going to have $40,000, $50,000 at least to get started. And so for me to get started with 100 would be a complete media play, and that was not enough. Like that didn't wake me up enough, like to do what we've done the past month. Like the pain threshold would not have been as high.
Yeah. Now, I had another thought, and that would be I think you had an advantage, and you did start a small business, obviously the original Augusta location in your hometown, but you're also not geared like most people. I feel like most people also, sales in general involves a certain element of shamelessness. And you have the advantage of you don't live there, you don't know anyone there, you don't care if you make a fool of yourself holding a sign. So I do think you have a slight psychological advantage there because I think if I did what you did in my hometown, I would not want to stand at the mall with a sign saying, "Do you need a mowing?" quote, right?
So here's the thing. I see where you're coming from. Two things. One, I believe people have an inflated view of themselves that everyone in their local city knows them when
Yeah,
maybe it's 100 people. It's the
right.
people who are in their high school. Second thing is, um, see, dude, I'm dull there. I literally forgot the second thing, but it's gonna come. Just wait. So you said, shame. Okay, I would say anyway, if you go anywhere and go hold a sign out in the public, it's gonna be nerve wracking. I don't care if it's in your hometown or people you don't know. Oh, this
Yeah.
is what I was gonna say. Everyone says that. However, if you were to fast forward, 5 years and say, okay, that guy standing on that sign, holding that sign, is going to build a $3 million business in our local area. And if you actually believe that, you'd probably do better at dealing with that social anxiety
Yeah.
because you're like, I know what this is going to become. And if you fail to believe in that end result so much, you will be anxious and you will be, drawn in and you won't be able to push through it. I'm not saying you won't feel it. I felt every single second was as I'm holding a sign out next to the road. And it took me a while to like warm up before like I like moved the truck and like hopped on the hood. Like it took time.
Yeah.
But ultimately someone will do that if they actually believe that they will hit the goal. Because if you do, this is why people that say like outlandish things, like I'm going to become this. Well, it takes a lot of like a lot of nerve to say that, but also it's a great story when they deliver on it.
Right.
Right? When someone says something crazy, but they believe in it so much and then they deliver, they're not crazy anymore.
Yeah.
They were visionary.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think most people don't believe in themselves enough and believe that they're going to hit their goal because if they did, they know it'd make a great story. And it just so happens that I have a camera following me tracking that story. So yes, it's a little bit easier. But I do believe most people simply don't have enough confidence or swagger about them to believe in their goal enough to say, laugh at me now and in 5 years come talk to me. And so that's more the approach I've taken in general when it comes to like the whole online stuff or people saying stuff is like, great, hey, just talk to me in 5 years and then we'll settle this debate. Because I'm not gonna like squabble over it now.
That makes sense. Do you think with this newfound perspective, right, having done this challenge, that any of your priorities have changed for Augusta as a whole?
Oh man, that's a good question.
Thank you. It's a great. Thank you.
Oh, dude, there's been a lot. I really haven't had time to think about it, to be honestly. Especially the past week and a half, it's just been it's just been a blur. But I know it has.
Yeah.
To put my finger on it, did you say the mission?
No, just your overall vision, your priorities is the word I used. Your priorities for Augusta as a whole. Have those changed based on the new perspective you've gained? And I know there's probably elements you can't share publicly, obviously, ideas that have come up or things you've shared in private conversations, but in general, anything.
There's countless improvements to the systems. There's countless like things that I will be better at. Like it was 10 years ago I started, right? So like, I think it's a healthy thing to kind of get back and feel that again. The thing is, there was nothing that happened that was like super surprising to me.
Right.
Because we've seen it, we've been with 100 people, other people doing the same thing, like same trucks, same services, they fall in the same system. Like it wasn't anything surprising.
Yeah.
But to live through it is good because see, I wasn't feeling pressure of like financially this is gonna make or break me, right? Like literally I almost called it off a week ago, right? Um what the pressure I was feeling is what happens to the Mike Andes brand if I come out and say I'm gonna do this thing and then it doesn't work.
Right.
Right. So for everyone that just saying like, oh, like what about people you standing on top of a truck, blah blah blah. Okay, what happens if I say all of this stuff and the systems are great and everything, and I don't get to $500 a day in revenue? I get 5 or 6 customers, nothing works, my website doesn't rank, nothing's happening, and that's a risk that could have happened because we were only recording 2 days before we were publishing. So it wasn't like we could modify this or like, oh, we're gonna have to like steer this off somehow. So I don't even know why we were going down that path, but there you have it. Oh, like the overall like changes, like definitely there's a lot of stuff. Like I'll sit down like on our flight back and like even over the next couple of days after I know a couple legal things, and probably come up with some like better formulating of my thoughts of things that changed in my head. But I definitely, I got a renewed sense of the fear of failure.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always had that from a financial perspective because I push all the businesses kind of to the brink in terms of, what we spend. We spend it basically every dollar. So I know that's like financially, but I don't know what that's like socially because for the past let's call it 6 or 7 years, I've always been quote unquote considered successful. And if this would have failed, it would have not just been a public in front of my friends and family. This would have been in front of my entire audience and franchisees that I failed. So like, there's definitely pressures to that. And so, yeah, like, it definitely crossed my mind. And like, we had conversations. Okay, so what happens if we don't hit this? Like, how do we spin this? What's the teaching moment here? Right. Yeah. And so, like Copper Creek Cuts, Brad gave me a really nice out in a comment, basically saying like, if you don't hit it, here's the things that people are going to learn. And like basically saying it's not easy kind of thing. Yeah. And that is a good perspective. And I think I tried to show that when I was really low, because in hopes that I would come back like we did. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, if this doesn't turn around, like the ramifications of that would be difficult. And so, yeah, we had to make it work.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are still gullible, but I like to hold on to the fact that maybe most people can still do critical thinking today. And I think there are content creators who are genuine when they make a mistake. They pivot, like Brad from Copper Creek Cuts was saying, which is, let's make it a teaching moment. Here's what the audience can learn from it. And then there's the guys that are worried about their self-image, so they fabricate or manipulate the story to give a certain perspective, a forced perspective. I like to think that most people still have enough critical thinking skills to see through that when someone's doing that. And I think you, obviously, knowing you as a person, just morally, you would have been like, no, I said we're going to do this. I'm going to share the whole truth. I'm going to share the failure if it's a failure. But I think it's interesting. My favorite part of what you said there was like, you felt the pressure of like social failure. I feel like that is what I was alluding to when I was saying you almost have this element of you don't have as much shame because you aren't known there. It's not your hometown. It's not this, that, or the other. But I guess you really rebutted that question by saying, no, I actually have more shame if this fails. Right. I have
dude.
Eyes on me.
It's documented. Yeah. In history, public.
That's good.
Like, look at this guy make himself like a fool, and he still can't hit his goal.
Yeah, totally. I wouldn't say I was ever nervous. I was like, you'll get there, and obviously, I have to, like you said, coach franchisees when they get started. So I firmly believe in like, you need momentum. Do this. If that's not working, do this. If that's not working, do this. But
dude, this is a layup for you as coaches. You guys just get a point to like a certain day. And be like, yeah, that's what Mike was feeling on this day. Like, and this is what happened. Like, so it's exactly what we needed. We need the Bible to turn back to occasionally and be like, this is what happened. Right. And like, 100%. This is normal. This is what happened. Like, day 4 is going to become like chapter 14 of Psalms. It's going to be like, go there, read a couple verses. You'll be good, dude. Little pick me up. So, I look back and like I was talking with Zach, I was like, I don't know what else we could have shown in terms of highs and lows that you're going to feel potentially in the first year. We got in like the 30 days. And like something like that happened last Thursday just completely derails everything. But that also happens. Now, I would never wish that on anyone, and I wish it wouldn't have happened to us or
Yeah.
Terrence. But like, it happens to everyone. Like it's going to happen. And the fact is, like, we have never had a car crash like that. Let me make sure that's a correct statement. I don't think we've ever had a car crash ever. Have you in your tender nut, right?
No, we've had a couple
But
fender
we,
benders.
yeah, but we never had a car like a head-on
No.
collision or a
No.
T-bone at an intersection,
No.
and it's been 10 years, and we have now tons of trucks now over here and over there. So the fact that in the first month I'm starting, it happens.
Yeah.
That's lucky, right? So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I want to ask one other question. I do want to get back to the car crash because I feel like there's more to explore there. It's knowing that the challenge just ended. But what would you say, gut reaction, what is the top quality or skill you need to accomplish what you just did? Like a small business owner that has watched the whole vlog series, that's watching this, listening to this, what is the one skill or quality, the most important to accomplish what you just did?
The ability to blindly follow the systems, regardless of the outcomes that happen.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm so bullish on franchising, is because the only thing that keeps you typically as a new owner operator is the fact that, okay, 100 other people have done this, 5,000 other people have done this. I can't be that different. And I remember thinking this at Anytime Fitness is like, I was being trained, I'm like, this could be better. I think that, and I eventually stepped back, okay, they have 4,000 of these,
Yeah.
and they're training me to do something.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, I am going to follow these blindly. And so now at Anytime Fitness, we are in the top 100 clubs out of 4,000. And it's because it's literally when I went to training, I said, and we doubled revenue. And like we have the same square footage, same number of employees. Like you can't do a whole lot. Like, and so it was simply like we were going to follow these systems religiously.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're going through a low or like things aren't working out, or like for myself having under 20% close ratio, as you know, is like red signals across the board on a coaching call. When that's happening, you don't deviate.
Mm-hmm.
And you just keep doing it.
Yep.
And we keep doing the same thing, and I kept doing the same close. Like I was doing follow-up calls the same way last week as I was the first week. The first week, nothing. This week, everything's just falling in our lap. Mm-hmm. Did I change pricing? No, pricing was the exact same throughout this entire challenge. We never changed our hourly rate. We never changed how much we were charging for mowing. We never changed any of those things. Mm-hmm. And so I have the benefit, and the only advantage I would say I have is I have complete and utter confidence in the systems we built. So there was never a question of, oh, should we change something?
Yeah.
And if someone could actually adopt that, that's what would give them the success. Unfortunately, most people don't have a network, of community, or a franchise, or a system to follow. And that's why they go take 10 years to build something, right? It's because they're simply having to figure out. And I know it seems like a pitch for Augusta, but it's just a matter of like, that's what franchising is. It is the roadmap that says, do not deviate from that. And in fact, we're going to penalize you if you do.
Yeah.
And like, I think one thing I've taken away from this is like, I'm going to start really coming heavy-handed on people who go outside the systems. And we're going to cut people out of the system faster, because deviation from the systems that work means people are going to fail, and failure is ultimately going to lead to a bad brand reputation for those who are following the systems, and two, it's going to lead to a less of a success rate, and so the model begins to be looked down on, when in reality it's not the model, it's the systems that weren't followed. And so I will probably come out of this even more so like, hey, if someone's not doing these things after some round of coaching calls, we're just going to start warning them. We're going to start finding people. I don't know, because I want the money. I don't want a single penny. We'll throw that into a slush fund, or we'll throw that into a conference fund. I want that to be like, you follow these systems, and if you don't, you're out. And I think by that, it gives the people that come behind them more confidence.
Yeah. I was going to throw out my Calendly link for people to book a call. Then you just came out so hard, and now people are probably like, I don't know if I want to work for Mike. So, yeah.
Well, like, and people look at systems as Um, this is a
Restraints?
really bad example. This is gonna be a really bad example, but just hang in with me, okay? Get the thought of this as it came to me randomly in the
Okay.
past 5 seconds, okay? If you look at a prison, the bars from the inside look debilitating and limiting. The bars from the outside, that's freedom. And that is protection and that is safety. And so this is what happens in a franchise model. I'll just be like completely blunt. This is how I think about it
Yeah.
as of 10 seconds ago. Um, once you're inside of the prison, I know this is a bad analogy. Just follow with me.
Yeah.
It feels like the bars are constraining. The systems are constraining you. Right?
Mhm.
You have a franchisor, you have people telling you what you should do, you have requirements, fees, penalties, etc. They can kick you out of the system.
Mhm.
Right? You follow exactly what is done, you eat at certain times, you go to sleep at certain times, you wear a certain uniform, etc. And when you're on the outside, you look at that and you're like, man, that would like this is like to you this prison is freedom, and people will look at what we're doing at Augusta and what I've done this week and like, man, systems do build great businesses. Systems are great. They are wonderful. We should make more systems in their business. And then when they become inside of the system, it feels limiting.
Mhm.
And so that's a really bad analogy because it painted us in a really bad light. It's like we were a prison, but that's how I think about it. It's like once you're inside, it feels debilitating. On the outside, it's always rosy and free, and that's the thing that
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
talk about that curve of what a franchisee feels towards Augusta as time goes on, where it comes from like infatuation, comes down, and then eventually over time you start to see the value of it. And I think in that low moment, it feels debilitating. It's like, you mean I can't do this X, Y, Z? I can't sell packages this way. I can't do these type of services. I can't paint my truck this. So like, um, I think that's just kind of how I think about
Yeah, that's fair. I just had 3 people cancel intro calls with me, so thanks for that analogy. I
it. I
like
don't want to go to prison.
I like to use the analogy of you broke your arm and you go to the doctor. And how's the doctor going to correct your arm? They're going to put it in a cast. Casts are
Yeah.
uncomfortable, they're itchy, they're constrictive, but you need to keep that cast on in order for your arm to heal correctly. Therefore, franchising is like the cast. It's going to make your business grow correctly, but it hurts and it's not fun and it looks weird or it feels weird or this, that,
Limit
or the
your
other.
range of motion.
So yeah, exactly. Right. You have to paint your truck yellow. That's like the first question people ask me. Like, how to paint my truck yellow? I'm like, do you don't want brand awareness? But anyways, so
But
just
even that, like for example, like I have some things up my sleeve. Like, um, we need to make sure we are holding that people's feet to the fire on that. You must paint your truck yellow. You must have, and you must submit it to the franchisor. Like this is not out of common for franchisors
right.
at all. And so, like if I truly believe that everything we did this month is because I follow the systems, why would I not religiously make sure, guard, protect, and enforce those systems in the model?
I agree.
Right. So
You're never gonna go to a McDonald's with blue arches. Like you just would. Like as dumb as that sounds, you just wouldn't. Like if I saw that driving down the road, I'd be like, that's a fake knockoff, sketchy, not buying from them McDonald's, right? But I see the golden arches and I'm like, oh yeah, horrible hamburger, but I know what I'm gonna get, right?
a horrible hamburger.
But I know what I'm gonna get.
Yeah.
And I'll get it very fast and it'll be very cheap, right? It's convenient. All right. Last thing I want to wrap up with on the pod. Don't want to get too long-winded, but since I have the privilege of the inside track, I know what's going on over there, and the people are going to get to know, so we'll release this after. But you are, dare I say, leaving us on a bit of a cliffhanger here in North Carolina. So I know we were just all excited and talking about how you did it. Good job. Congratulations. But what's going on with the truck situation and legal issues?
Yeah, so basically, the crash happened last week, and
Yep.
so got report back today. Everything is fixed in terms of the suspension, but the frame is bent on the truck.
Oof.
How bad that is, we don't really know. And so they put it through like on a machine and stuff. They said everything's gonna work just fine. It's gonna drive just fine, whatever. But basically, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna drive it hard tomorrow, see how if it's running well, like how I'm gonna like really crank on it. Might even take it off the road a bit, just to make sure it's like I really feel confident. And then basically we limp it along, or like we would get the auto body done. But then I told Chuck, I'm like, if this thing ever has one problem, electrical, anything. It's just kicked to the side.
Yeah.
And more than likely, my hope is that Chandler can just outgrow it. So like he can need a third truck and just start to use this truck
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
little.
Gotcha.
It's fortunately, from that perspective, our cheapest truck we have in all of North Carolina. Um,
Bonus.
yeah. The thing is this. The cost of that truck is going to be a drop in the bucket to what is going to be coming down the pipe, because today I got kind of at the insurance, and so I had a recorded statement of what happened and all the rest of it, and then they notify you of like what the legal processings are going to be. So the family that got hit, unfortunately, there's two kids and an adult. They all said they were injured, and so they got an attorney already and are coming after me. So I already know how this looks. It looks like they're going to name the LLC of our company at the top, and they're going to list off my name and every other LLC I own. And so I can get my name and the other ones lifted off pretty easily, just because the corporate veil.
Yeah.
In terms of just different LLCs, I got to protect that though. Like I have to enforce, like show it from a legal perspective. So I got to get an attorney. And then like I have an attorney, but I don't have one that's going to be able to do injury law down here. So I'll have to try and figure that out tomorrow. Anyways, they're going to come after me with everything they got. I know that. So I'm just going to lawyer up and hope that I can kind of keep it. Yeah, we'll see. Insurance is obviously there, but they're going to go for everything. I just know it. Just based on the way everything was said, the fact that they already have attorneys, there's a lot that kind of goes into just kind of being able to know where you're going. So I'll just lawyer up and hope we can keep it the damage minimal.
Yeah. I'm sure you can't say a lot since legal proceedings are
No, I
beginning.
haven't signed anything yet.
Okay, great. But you still probably just keep it, keep it tight, if you will. So are you you're new to the area, so are you just gonna call one of those injury lawyers that you see on the highway?
on the billboards?
Is that how they get business from entrepreneurs that moved all the way across the country to
no,
start
you notice they never are advertising for defense. They're advertising for what they got.
They want the money. Yeah.
Because you get a percentage. So
Yep.
when what's going to happen is they're going to see the LLC, then they're going to look up me, and then they're going to see all my LCs, then they're going to see my stuff, and then they're going to be like, oh, there's pockets to go after. So it's normal though. This is I was talking to Zach. I said like Verizon, for example, probably has a big truck crash every single day on their fleet, right? Yeah. I've been 10 years. This is our first one. Literally our first policy claim I think ever in North Carolina. And so it's just part of the game, and I'm not looking forward to it, but we'll see how it happens.
A little bit of a gut punch to end it.
It's a learning curve. It's a learning curve too. Like I've learned a lot of stuff about like employee law. I've been sued over that before. I've held my own on that. Franchise law I've learned a lot about. I've never done injury law. So tomorrow I'm going to start reading up and then just educating myself, and then I'll start looking for legal counsel. I
don't want to make light of this situation, but I think I'm excited for the day when I get named on that sheet with you. Like it's going to happen at some point, and I'll be on the list. I'll be like, let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, they usually go with the stakeholders. As long as you're not an equity stakeholder, then you're fine. But yeah, you get thrown. Like I got thrown. I've been thrown on several from franchisees because they'll take the franchisor and then they'll take me as part of that.
Right.
So it's usually just a matter of getting good attorneys to get you off the legal stuff. So, but like right now, I still have a pending one that's really bad because a franchisee employee took a truck and rammed it into a family vehicle, but it was much worse than this, and massive amounts of legal processings. And so I'm still in that one. I'll be removed. Like I'll get off of that one. But anyways, it's a lot of legal stuff. That's why like I don't get like super threatened by legal stuff now because I kind of get how it works. But this one I've never done injury law. So like I've been threatened. I get cease and desist quite often. I got one from our like a vendor of ours recently. But I'm not like personally. The thing that I think is it does like okay. Let's take off injury law for a second. This is completely separate. I'm using in terms of like corporate law and when you start using trademark law and stuff like that, we have never, to date, knock on wood, we have never had to enforce legal action to protect Augusta Lawn Care, ever.
I like that.
And we have had almost 20 copyright or trademark infringements. And never once have we threatened or have I ever had my legal counsel send them a letter. Every single one we resolved, and we've spent less than $1,000 in that time period on legal counsel for those. And so I really think companies that are super litigious, I think they've lost their ability to innovate, and they're spending their time on like the same way that the city tried to sue me. It's like, seriously, you guys can't figure out like how to figure out taxes during COVID with the Canadian border, and you're gonna come sue a guy that's trying to like do free work for you.
Yeah.
The same thing I think about when it comes to companies that start to do that. And so there'll be other things that come out down the road, what's all been happening. But yeah, I don't like it. And so like when someone does it with Augusta, usually they're hearing directly from me. And I'm just like, hey, look, here's our trademark. Feel free to read through it. It's very guarded. We have it in every single state, every single province. We're locked and loaded in Canada and the US. Like, and I've only one time I ever had to say, I will basically send the dogs on you if you don't comply. But we've never had to get the actual legal counsel in on it, where those get very ugly. I'm only one time I was like, look, if you don't comply, I can guarantee you this will cost you a lot of money. It's not worth it for your business, and I will sue you very, very deeply. And so only one time. Every other time it's been very cordial. They've all done it willingly, and I've made sure and guided them through the process of getting things changed for like their logo or their verbiage or whatever. So, everyone now has a dog, right? Which is great. Totally fantastic. But if you get too close to my trademark, I'm going to call you. And I will work through it like a friend would. And that's kind of how I think it should be handled. Like the whole, I'm going to take legal counsel is like what we hear from our customers when they're like unhappy and throwing a spizzy fit. So,
yeah. Is it, so like obviously it's trademark law, but what about like parody law? Like if someone's making fun of you?
That would be if you were trying to get personal damages. So you'd be saying if something is, sorry, I'm dull. It starts with a D. I'm forgetting.
Defamation?
Defamation. Yeah. So defamation has 4 different dude, we're getting too deep.
Yeah, now
there's 4 specific things defamation has to hit. It's extremely hard to prove defamation. Same thing with fraud. You have to, like with defamation, you have to be able to prove the other person knew that it was false and then said something about you. It's extremely hard to prove defamation.
That's right, yeah.
And that's why like typically like you can kind of say whatever you want about like people on the internet, is because it's very hard to prove that that person knew otherwise and then said you did X, Y, and Z. So
interesting. Yeah.
Am I going to be convicted of?
In case C-suite needs to do some sketches or something, we're covered. I think we took a weird turn there, but you can leave North Carolina willingly. Everything should be okay. Like, is there any more you can share at this point? Like business-wise, everything's fine. Legally, kind of in a bind.
Oh yeah. It's the business will be fine. Chandler will be great. In terms of the legal side, you just gotta figure it out. We'll figure it out. I feel bad mostly the fact that their insurance rates are really, really good because they haven't had any claims, and now this is gonna throw a monkey wrench into it. So I'll pick up the tab of whatever like is over our insurance limit, but they gotta kind of pick up the tab of the increased insurance. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, bummer. Well, you did the challenge. You made it through. A little bit of a bummer note to end on, but kudos to you. I think.
But again, from a media perspective, the way that the challenge ends, because today is right. It's the last day. It'll be edited. You won't see it till 2 more days. But the way it ends is actually like perfect, because I get very excited the last day. Everything's like not told you so, but like this is what like kind of everything we've been saying here, right? And then I ended on a down, and I kind of how I wanted to end, and that is the saga continues. Like month 2, there'd be more ups and downs. There'd be more issues. I'd probably have a hard time employing a bunch of people, then trying to find new shop space. Like it's always going to be something. And there's no finish line. And like for me, we had this artificial 30-day deadline, but like it's always going to be highs and lows in growing the business. And so I kind of wanted to end on a down because like that's kind of like my brand, and I like it.
Yeah,
So
that's fair. Well, it's reality, right? Like as soon as you have a win, like you could have a loss in your business. Like that's just how it goes. Like the day you crush it and score like a bunch of clients is the day your best employee quits. Like that's just how it goes, right?
yeah,
So
really.
gotcha. Well, do you have any overarching not financial advice for the people?
Dude, I have non-financial advice that I've shared before,
Okay,
but this month has made it all the more true for me.
good. Hit me
And
with
that
it.
is, oh, wait a second. I have 2 bits of, dude. Oh, yeah, I have 2 bits of
Go.
financial advice. Okay,
What'd you
so
punch?
all around fashion. Okay, all around fashion.
Okay, good. Mine is
Now,
actually fashion related. So there we go.
okay. So the first one I have talked about before, but this month really made it solidify. It cannot be overemphasized how important it is to have long sleeve shirts that are dry fit if you're in the landscaping industry.
Yeah.
Now, the reason this is such a breakthrough for me is because I always wore short sleeves, and I feel like I just like kind of you get really really dark tan, or put sunscreen on like the very very hot of the year. Wear long sleeves; it's the
Yeah.
best. It keeps you way cooler. Wear the stupid hat that everyone thinks looks stupid. It's the best. I never have to put any sunscreen on. I didn't burn. I didn't get over hot. You sweat, you cool off. It's great. Okay, here's the better one. Okay, here is the real one. And I know you know what's coming too.
I think I
Because
do.
I dropped it when I said fashion. Your socks,
Yeah,
your socks at the Memphis meetup, F minus, bro.
dude.
The only were they not Augusta yellow. They were neon green,
Yeah,
hiked up
yeah,
mid calf
yeah,
while wearing shorts.
yeah.
I'm just saying, I don't think that passes the C-suite. I don't think that is necessarily going to be a good look for you when it comes to your Fortune magazine cover when this podcast blows up.
Hey,
And I just think that if you're going to wear shorts, wear the calf version of socks, or better yet, if you're going to wear shorts, wear flip flops or sandals. And so I think that's a good move for your wardrobe and for your future design,
yeah.
outlook.
I mean, I'm currently wearing shorts and the same length of socks. There's black. So
I'm just saying.
here's the thing. I will defend myself by quoting, well, maybe not quoting, but indirectly quoting, paraphrasing Gary V. I swear so much because that's who I am, right? I wear weird colored socks because that's who I am. And
But even Gary's tamed things down over the past couple of years.
fair.
So there's hope. There's light at the end of the tunnel for you, bro.
I'm just saying. I was there and I was like, look, I'm at this meetup. Mike's not here. I don't have to be no. So we had the meetup and here's the real story. Number one, I'm a light packer. I travel and I just had a backpack. And so I had to walk from my hotel to where the meetup was.
It's a long story, dude.
The humidity was like 99%. And I
It
was
is
like,
bad there.
I am not going to wear a polo and slacks to the meeting. I'll wear shorts and a t-shirt, but I already had my socks on and I said, send it. So that's it.
I just think those socks in general should get like excommunicated from your wardrobe.
Great socks, dude. They're great socks. Very comfortable. One of my favorite pairs. My mom bought them. My not financial advice is actually also from the Memphis meetup. It's also fashion. But I have to give credit to Ryan Payne, great guy, great franchisee, great business owner. And he said, if you're going to have a business hat with like your logo, your words on it, whatever, always keep one fresh one that you never wear out in the field. So that way you always have one for like when you want to nicely represent the brand, because there was a mix of franchisees, you want to talk fashion, clearly had their field hat on. Now, I'm always a field hat guy. I wear mine with the sweat stain still. But ever since we got these black ones, this is the clean one. This is never going to get sweat in. It's going to stay clean. So there's advice.
I feel like we have to declare a winner for non-financial advice. And if we had to for this one, I would say you did win. That's a good call.
Yeah, 100%.
I actually have 2 pairs of boots here. Same type of boots. One boots is for estimates, and when I'm only doing estimate work, other one is for field work.
Perfect. I love that. Yeah. So there you go, guys. That's your advice.
Hey, here's how I tell the difference. Oh, I can't reach him. I have a black marker on the tongue inside of the one I put W on. Stands for work, baby. That's the ones I wear all day.
I think you just outed yourself, because if you can't tell which ones are your work boots, you're not working hard enough.
No. See, this is incorrect because if you have cloth ones like I do and you don't have steel toes, you can throw them in the wash. I wear cheap boots that are light, that are cloth, and you can throw them in the wash.
I think,
and so
you're not defending yourself. You're making it worse. If they're cheap, you'd wear them out. You'd blow them out. You're not working hard enough.
Bro, I'm not. I am going to wash my boots if possible. I can't wash the ones that are steel toes. They're too heavy.
All right. Maybe this is what the people want to see. Take a picture of your work boots. I'll take a picture of mine. Then the people.
But that's the whole point. You don't clean your work boots. I clean them. I put them in the wash.
Yeah. Okay.
Because they're light.
Well, let the people decide.
There's non-financial advice. Wear lighter shoes when it's hot, like lighter in weight in the summer. So you can throw them in the wash, and they always look like the nice pair that Lee never has.
No, disagree.
Or just wear socks.
Yeah, or just socks. All right, that's the pod. Thanks for listening. Like and subscribe, share, whatever you want to do. Appreciate you guys.